I would like to welcome you to this portion of the St. James 2020 Candidate Forum. In this section, we will be hosting candidates for the St. James School Board. Thank you to the sponsors for tonight's forum: Uniting Cultures, St. James Community Education, the St. James Plain Dealer, St. James Chamber of Commerce, St. James Community Building. We are taping the forum and it will be broadcast on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings at 8 p.m. on the Cable Access Channel. In addition, we will be posting it on YouTube with the links posted on community websites and social media. There are 4 candidates running for 3 spots on the school board. Incumbents are Michelle Mullenbrook, Louisa Trapero, Scott Rumney, and the challenger is Jason Munnins. The format for this forum will be: the candidates will have the opportunity to introduce themselves and make a 1-minute opening statement. Candidates will be given a set of questions and have 1.5 minutes for each response. Each section will close with the candidates able to make a 1-minute closing statement. Michelle, we will start with you. Please introduce yourself and indicate why you are running or seeking re-election for the St. James School Board.
Good evening, I'm Michelle Mullenbrook. I'm running for the school board again this year. I have 5 children in the district. 4 have graduated, and I still have a junior in high school. I am a lifelong resident of St. James. 4 of my children are still in the district, and I'm pretty proud of that they have chosen to stay in the area. I'm not sure what the last one will do. We'll see what happens here in the future, but it's been nice to stay in the area. I've tried to stay involved in the district because they're in the district. It's a way to give back to the community. I have the time to serve the district. One of the things that I have found that's different this time around is, out of 5 children, the last one is the first one that's involved in high school sports. And so that has made a difference.
Thank you, Michelle. Louisa?
Hi, my name is Luisa Trapero. This will be my 3rd time running for school board. I have 3 girls, and one graduated to work in the school system. I have a senior and 8th grader. The reason why I still want to run for school board is I feel like I still have a lot to learn and a lot to give to the district. Also, I feel like it's important to give back to the community where you live. I've been living in the community for quite a few years. All my brothers were alumni from St. James, and my girls, I have one who graduated from St. James. I feel proud to be representing the St. James community, especially the school board. Please, try to find yourself and.
Thank you, Louisa. Scott.
Hi, I'm Scott Runge. I'm married to my wife Samantha for 18 years. We have 3 students in the school district right now. We have Jacob, who is 16, who is a junior, Keely, who is 13, who is an 8th grader, and Caitlin, who is 10, who is a 5th grader. And them 3 kids give me a unique perspective with what's going on in the school district, because each one of them kids is in a different track in the school. One's in high school, one's in middle school, one's in elementary. So I hear on a daily basis what's going on in the school, good and bad, and it gives me an idea of what's going on every day in and out. I've been on the school board for 4 years, and 4 years ago we had some challenges, and we've made some changes, and I would like to continue on for another 4 years to see them changes through and hopefully the betterment of the school district.
Jason?
My name is Jason Munnins, and I'm running for school board. I've been a lifelong resident of St. James. I have two kids in, one in elementary, one in middle school. I'm looking for a new challenge. I'm also looking for another way to help out the community. Try to get everybody to work together between the county, cities, all the businesses and all the people. Just I've been involved with some different things throughout the community, so I'd like to try something different with the school with having 2 kids in it now. I get to see where they come from, see what's changed since I was in school here. And just look forward to all the challenges.
All right, the first question will begin with Michelle. COVID-19 has had some drastic impact on our educational system. How do you view the district's response, and what should the priorities be for early 2021?
Well, it has been a challenge. I think the school has handled it very well. We have a good committee that has met often. We have about 24 people that are part of the committee that meet. We have addressed the challenges, I think, from all aspects, including teachers, staff, custodial staff, office staff, the nurses, including an additional nurse that was added, which is not an additional expense to the school. There are students that are part of that meeting. We have to follow the rules of the Department of Health. We have to watch the COVID numbers of the county. Of course, we want the students in school. The students want to be in school, but we have to keep them safe. That's the priority. I think the elementary school is doing well with keeping the kids separated because they have the space and the staff to keep them separated. And the high school is a little harder. There's not quite the space to keep them separated. Hopefully, with following the mandates that the state has in place and masking, by the time 21 rolls around, the virus will have dissipated enough where we can get them all back in school.
Louisa?
Well, I think our school has handled it really well. Like Michelle said, we had a committee, and our committee started early July to see and envision what this year was going to be. I'm really proud of the whole staff at the high school, Northside, Armstrong, everybody in there, because they have been really, really taking this challenge really well. I know right now it's kind of like everybody's kind of burnout because everything is changing so fast. But I believe with all the changes and all the numbers that are coming up, and hopefully everybody will be doing their social distance and the mask up, that would help our kids. And that's something that everybody outside the school should think about, because I know kids wants to go back, because I have 2 that wants to go back, but that's a collaborative between everybody, not just the school. It should be everybody doing the collaboration, maintaining their social distance. And with that, I think we'll be able to go back to the school next year, hopefully at least distant learning or hybrid like we have had in the high school.
Scott?
So like I said before, I have 3 kids that are in a school district, one in high school, one in middle school, and one in elementary. Back in March, when this COVID thing came around, they gave a different perspective from each kid as far as how the school district was handling things. They voiced their opinions of what worked for them and what didn't. And then now starting this next school year, they have also, said what's good and what's bad, which has given me a good perspective with being on the board. My kids have never felt unsafe. They've always felt safe with everything that the school district has done in order, with all the COVID protocols. But also with that, everyone has different comfort levels with COVID. Some people are extremely relaxed with it and say, yep, it's going to happen. Some people are very scared of it, and our school district has been very good with respecting everybody and everybody's opinions and doing what is best for the kids. One of the best attributes with handling COVID is our superintendent. Dr. Haga's done an excellent job with communicating all the issues and how he thinks we need to resolve the issues and the plan of attack. So Dr. Haga's been a very good addition to the school district for this.
Jason?
I think they've done a good job. Nobody knows the right thing what to do. You kind of learn as you go. Everything's changing fast. I think we all need to remember that to keep our kids in school, it's going to take the whole community. It's not just the school districts. Come up with the rules and then the kids just have to follow. We all have to remember outside of there, everybody has to follow it. Otherwise our kids won't be in school. And then we're going to have to learn from home. It's been a challenge for everybody. I got a kid that's in Armstrong, now he's home. It's hard for the parents that have some kids at home that don't have an older kid to stay with them. So I think we need to all, as a community, do our part to try to get these kids back into school. I think for 2021, I think we can learn a lot from what we've done from March of last year to now. The good and the bad, what we've learned and what we've outcome with, and make sure we use everybody's ideas to have the best outcome for our kids so they can get back on the good learning curve.
Louisa, you'll begin this question. The pandemic is impacting our state budget, with public schools the largest part of our state budget. Any shortfalls may impact our school's budget in the future. How would you deal with any budget shortfalls? And would you make cuts or go to the public for increased funding?
Well, I think that's a financial part. I think we have to talk with the whole administration, especially with Dr. Haga. He's the one who usually would let us know or advise us what would be the best. I really hate doing cuts. That's the thing. I always have hate doing cuts. Sometimes, we need to do it. But at this time, I think we're in a good budget. So hopefully with what we have right now, and the state won't cut a lot of our funding. That's something I guess our legislators should be prioritized. If we want good kids, we need to have that money. Money talks. That's one of the sayings, that money talks. And if we don't have the money to educate the kids, I think they should just do other cuts somewhere else, because I feel education should be the priority for anyone.
Thank you. Scott, any questions?
I personally like finances. I like dealing with business. My wife and I and my mom, we run a trucking company in town, so we understand what it takes to run a business and the positives and the negatives. And trimming sometimes is not fun, but it's something that has to be done. And when I came out of the school board in 2016, our fund balance was a negative $200,000. And in 2020, it was projected that we were going to finish at a positive $99,000. And through that, it's been some tough decisions that have been made with some trimming and whatever we can do to get our fund balance back where it should be. And there's still room for growth there as well. As far as, what we can do in the future with the budget cuts or with the budget that the state gives to us, with our new superintendent, Dr. Heil, we have instructed him to, look at all levels and all facets of the school district and see where the spending is and see what can be cut. Because it's never fun to cut a teacher, but maybe there's some fluff areas that we're spending money on that we can be trimming on. And that's something as far as what to project and go to the public and ask for more funding. I'd always like to see what we can do ourselves first before we go to the public, because then.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Jason?
With the budget stuff, it's a hard thing for anybody if we get cut. Like Lisa said, we need to make sure that everybody knows that education is important. Make sure our legislators know it, because if we have a voice there, they know that we need them. They're very good to work with. And you don't want to cut people if you don't have to, but there's other ways to find alternative funding without going back to the public. There's a lot of grants out there. There's a lot of other things you can get donated to make things easier, cheaper. It's going to take a lot of people if that happens. It's going to take not just the school boards, it's going to take the community to figure out a way to do it. In the future, if they don't come back to their normal, we'll have to figure out another way to raise funds or cut some things. Just to make sure that we're using all the taxpayers and the state's money in a wise manner.
Michelle?
It is true that our fund balance was a negative and that we did make some cuts, and I don't think those cuts were too painful. So we are headed in the right direction. We are looking forward to working with our new superintendent and giving him the opportunity to look at our finances and maybe a new set of eyes. We'll see some things that previous administration has not. So giving him the opportunity to go through things where we are anxious to work with him. We do not like to make cuts. We certainly don't like to talk people and cutting people. So like Scott said, sometimes there's fluff that can be cut. But we're not talking people or positions. Just let's take a look first, give our new administration the opportunity to take a look. But we're headed in a different direction. We're headed in a positive direction. We don't like to go to taxpayers if we don't have to, and we just need the opportunity to, I think, get through 2020, 21, get through COVID. Hopefully the government does not come back at us asking for money back that has been given to us. A lot of businesses, schools have been given money to get through these times. Hopefully they don't come back and ask for it back.
Thank you, Michelle. Scott, the next question will begin with you. Do you believe that there are racial and social economic inequalities in our district? And how should this issue be addressed?
Are there inequalities in our district? I guess it's all a matter of interpretation. You know, we always try to do our best to make sure that there are not inequalities. But it can be misunderstood sometimes, and some people may have some opinions that we are treating them fairly. But you know, one thing, St. James is a diverse community. There's no getting around that. We understand that, and we enjoy that. You know, that's what makes St. James what it is. So, as far as we've done massive improvements in the school district, you know, before my time even, you know, in the past 20 years since I got out of school to where we are now, it's a completely different district and a completely different aspect of reaching these kids and how to make each one of them feel comfortable and make sure that each student is learning at their fullest potential. One thing I didn't realize until I got on the school board is how many new students are new to country or new language. You know, they have no experience speaking English, and that poses an extreme challenge to our teachers on how to reach these students at the same level as a student who's been in St. James their whole life. So there's massive challenges, but I think our school district has done very well in trying to meet them challenges and what we can do in the future to continue to use.
Jason?
Like Scott said, it depends on who's thinking of the equality. It is a very diverse community. We just have to make sure we reach all the students, get all the parents that we can involved, anybody in the community that's part of the diverse community, so we can all work together for the best of our kids, for the best of our community, without separating kids or people. We need to all work together to come up with a good end. And that's listening to both sides, making sure everybody's treated fairly.
Michelle, can you repeat the question? Do you believe that there are racial and social economic inequalities in our district? How should this issue be addressed?
So I think we've come a long way. have a lot more awareness. We have a lot more help that we can offer. I'm proud that we have Louisa on our school board to help us find, make us aware of inequalities. Another area that I am shocked at is our free and reduced. I'm shocked at when I have been asked for, when we were talking about, when we had our committee for the COVID and having to get the kids split up, that some kids aren't going to have a water bottle to bring to school because we can't turn the water faucets on. Not every kid is going to have a water bottle. And I was like, not every kid has a water bottle? That was shocking to me. You don't think of simple things that every student doesn't have their own water bottle. So it's little things like that that make you aware. I'm grateful that we can provide meals to students that are not able to come to school during the week. So there are things that I'm glad we can provide to all students.
Thank you, Michelle. Louisa?
I think we do. Our schools do have social, economic, and racial inequalities, but you could see it, like Michelle said, the free and reduced lunch. In our community, we have a high population of free and reduced lunch. Social, that's the part of the social, and the economics. Racial, yeah, we do have a racial inequality. But I do believe that we're making big, giant steps, especially at the school. At the whole school, we have a committee that is an equality committee that is looking at this to see the vision of equality between the schools. We also have the students also have a social club, social justice club, and those are big improvements to our school. And also we have our help from United Cultures, Uniendo Culturas. We also have help from Convivencia Hispana, and they also bring to the table to the school board to see more than what we have. But we're making big, giant steps on not actually fixing it, but getting started. Because fixing it is a big problem, and it's something that we all have to deal with.
Thank you. Jason, we'll start this question with you. What do you feel are the strengths of St. James Public Schools, and what areas would you like to see improved?
The strengths, I think they've done a good job through this COVID. That's brought out the strengths in every place. I think the community has brought out the strength. Things that we can improve on is maybe communication through the different schools with the students, parents, teachers. I think it's gotten a lot better with Dr. Heil through the teachers. Just so we're communicating everything to the community so that they know up front what's going on. So we don't try to hide anything from them. Make sure everybody's up front, and then try to get other input from the community if we're doing a big project. Make sure it's not just a few people that make the decision, so that we get thinking outside the box. There's a lot of ways, there's a lot of opportunities for the school system to work with different businesses, the county, the city. So I think that's a way we can improve on getting outside help and getting people to think outside the box on ways we can do things and to save everybody money and get people to work together.
Michelle?
I agree with Jason on that we do need to communicate better. I don't know how to fix that one. I think as a board that we have meetings, we have committees. We invite people into those committees. We say, join us. We went through strategic planning. We had offered community members to come into those. We're lucky if we can get a handful to come to those meetings. We put things on social media, and yet we still hear, you didn't tell us. We didn't hear about it. And like, we continue to hear we dropped the ball on communication. And we feel as a board that we've touched every avenue, and yet we still hear we missed the mark. So I don't know how to fix that one. Strength, I feel that we are doing a good job because we're keeping the CNA classes in the forefront. We're trying to keep our ag classes at the forefront. We're pushing to, not everybody is going to go to a 4-year college. However, we're also trying to keep 4-year colleges at the forefront that for those that need it. So we want to help those that want to hit on ag classes because we are an ag community. Those that want those kind of classes, and then those that want to go off to 4-year colleges. We want to run the gamut. We feel like we can cover both of those.
Louisa?
I feel like we have a lot of strength in our school system. I feel like our community, it's a big strength for the whole public school system. From all the committees that we have out there, Rotary, Lions Club, they're always, United Cultures, communities, they're always pitching in, always being there for the school. The students are a big strength for us. They are so awesome to do. Now with this COVID, we have seen that the students do follow what they need to do because that's the strength that we have given people. Our own people. I'm so proud of the whole district. Everybody who works in the district. I'm so proud of them because they have been put up with so much this year and this past year and with this pandemic that they have never complained, about so many changes that we have. Now the strength that we also have that we have, like Michelle says, the CNA classes, the ag classes, and so many other now the child development classes. Those are strengths that our school district has for our kids, which I think it's a blessing for everybody.
Scott?
Our strengths with the school district are many. We have lots of strengths. It's hard to touch on all of them. But one of the first strengths we have are our teachers. Our teachers have done a great job in dealing with all the diverse students that we have here and trying to get all our students to the level where they need to be. Like with our elementary school, we had some poor test scores, 5-6 years ago. Our school has drastically turned around. We are now, I believe it's called the Celebration School because of what the teachers have done. Another strength we have is our student body. Because of our diverse student body, ethnically we also have a diverse student body that is diverse in sports, in fine arts, and other activities. And you see the success that they've had in the past years. And it's good to see that, and it's good to say that we're from St. James because of these diversities. And another good thing that we have right now that's going for us is our administration. I believe, I know I said it a couple times already, but Dr. Howell has been a great addition to the school district. He's going to do some great things to help us in the right direction. I can't wait to see what the next few years bring. Our weaknesses are definitely the budget. That's something that we need to continue working on, and our communication is a weakness. But like I said, Dr. Howell has been very good with that, with communicating all the issues and resolving.
Thank you, Scott. Question 5 will begin with Michelle. James collaborates with area schools for multiple services. How important do you feel that this is, and what areas would you like to see strengthened or changed?
Well, I think we collaborate well with schools. We collaborate with Butterfield on academics and sports. I don't know that there's a lot of change that we can do With sports, it can be hard because one student can put a district over and put them into another level. So sometimes collaboration will not work when it comes to sports because they'll put them into a different level and they won't accept you into their school. Academic-wise, you know, I like collaboration, but then I also like, we could just open enroll to our district too. So there's two sides to that. There are two sides to that. Sometimes I'm like, just open enroll, come on over to St. James. We got a lot of good things happening here, but it depends on the area. But we do work well with Butterfield. We have collaborated with some things with Bedelia. So there are some things we can't offer our kids. I think hockey is one of those things where we collaborate. And if you can't offer hockey, that's an expensive sport. And if it gets your kid into a hockey program, I say let's do it. So there are some things we just have to do.
Thank you. Louisa?
Collaborating with other schools, I think we're doing a really good job on it. I'm really pleased collaborating with Butterfield, with academical and sports, but we also collaborate with Bedelia with other programs like the earliest childhood. You know, we also collaborate with them. We also collaborate with Riverbend with our special ed kids that they go there. So we do have a lot of collaboration, and I'm really pleased for that.
Thank you, Scott.
Like Michelle and Lisa said, we do have existing agreements or collaborations with other school districts. With Butterfield, you know, we tried sharing, you know, bringing their students over to offer classes to them that they may not have had before. With the sports, with FFA, I know that kids come over and join the FFA. But it does seem like there's only a small portion of the kids that come over to be part of our organization, our groups. And I think we could tap that a little bit better. I think we probably could get more kids to come over and join. In the past, like when I was going to school, you know, there's 3 small school districts in this small county. And it always seemed like there was definite boundaries outside of each school district. And I think we have worked to try to break the boundaries, but I think the boundaries definitely could be broken down further and help the kids out, you know, and help the school districts out. Because if we can collaborate more with the school districts, it can help each one of us, you know, and put us in a better financial situation by sharing costs instead of each one of us having the same cost for the same program.
Jason?
Collaboration is a good thing for everybody. To help, like Scott said, to use all the resources that are out there so everybody doesn't have to have the exact same one. So we can offer all the kids in our county or in our area what's best for all of them. Because some might not want to go to college, some might want to just do some of the other stuff. And there is boundaries, like Scott said, that back when I was in school, there was boundaries, and we could break them down so that everybody, because if all the kids see that everybody can work together, when they grow up, they're going to work together. It'll make them a better person when they get older, that, hey, we can all share, it's not just about one town, it's about everybody working together to learn, to teach other people things, use all the resources and save everybody money, and everybody gets the final thing at the end.
Louisa, we'll start this question with you. Our district has continually added more early education and child care services to our program and budget. Do you support this increase, and will you support the continuation of these services and programs even if there are budget shortfalls?
I do support early childhood education because I think that's the biggest point. I'm also representative of St. James in a statewide with the Department of Health about early childhood, and I'm really blessed to be part of our district because our district do have a really good program of early childhood, And, if we want good students for the future, that is gonna, we better continue, we better start doing it early on, like we have been doing. And that's not gonna show right now, it's gonna show up later on when those kids get to be in high school, because they have done the basis of the earliest childhood.
Scott?
As far as early childhood education and the school age daycare and stuff like that we have, it is extremely essential to our school district to continue on with that program and the services that we offer. That program, in my mind, is not meant to be a moneymaker. As long as it breaks even, it's achieving the goal that it's supposed to be doing. Because the goal for this early childhood and for the school age daycare is to get the families into the school district. Get them into the school district, get them familiar with the faces, get them familiar with the people, get them familiar with the buildings. And it's our job to keep them here. Because if we can keep them here, then it makes our school district a better district. It gives our school district more money because we need more pupils and more funding from the state. In the past, it hadn't done real well, but we have, I think, turned that around the last couple of years, and I think there's definite growth and opportunities to continue on with that program. But so yes, it is something that is extremely essential for our school district.
Jason?
Yes, I do think it is very important for our school district. Like we said, we need to get kids started early, so that they are ready for when they start kindergarten or preschool, so that they're ready. And if we can keep them around here so that they stay in our school district, it will help our employers, because if they don't have daycare and they got to take their kids out of town to daycare, well, it'd be easy for them to go out of town to work. Where we need to keep as much business in town, keep the kids started out learning the right way. It gives them some control over the kids, that they can start learning earlier. It's not a money maker, I know that, but it's about the future of our school district, the future of our community, that if we can teach them and they can be a valuable asset to our community, it's well worth it, even if we just break even like Scott said.
Michelle?
I think as a board, we decided some time ago that early childhood is very valuable in our school, and absolutely, we know it's not a moneymaker, but we need to keep those kids in our school. We need to start them young, and it's valuable. It's not going anywhere.
Scott, this question will begin with you. What role should public education take in regard to anti-racism, white supremacy, and equality?
Oh, big ones there.
Anti-racism, white supremacy, and equality.
Yeah, none of that needs to be in our school district at all. We need to condemn all that, make sure all kids are equal, make sure all kids are treated fairly. No bullying, no making someone feel like they're superior or inferior to the others. And that needs to start as soon as the kids walk in the building. They need to know where their boundaries are at. They need to know that this is what we allow and this is what we don't allow. And as long as it's black and white writing, and these are the consequences for doing that with the discipline, I believe that can be stopped immediately before it becomes an issue. I always know there's always going to be some kids or some people that are going to try to push the boundaries, but if the administration stays strong and the teachers stay strong and curtailing this and seeing any issues like that come around, that needs to be stopped immediately. So it has no part in our district at all.
Jason?
I'm with Scott on that. It does not have any part. We need to make sure everybody's treated fairly, that everybody's equal, they all get the same education no matter what they believe in, but it doesn't affect the school system at all. I think that needs to start at home. It's not just up to the teachers to teach all that. The school district needs to just stay strong on their rules and treat everybody evenly, fairly. There's two sides to every story.
Michelle? What role should public education take in regard to anti-racism, white supremacy, and equality?
So all students should be treated equally in public school. There should be there's no room for racism in public school. I guess there's just no discussion.
I appreciate that. Louisa?
I guess to be a public school, we need to be a little bit more open that we know that this stuff are happening, especially in this time of age, that all this is happening. Our school, I know we have to stay strong on the rules that we have and our procedures of doing it, but equality, we could say equality for everybody, but that also means, the right education for everyone. I guess some of the curriculums that we have, we need to start talking more about the racial and the anti-racial and the white supremacists, because that's something we have always put it on the back burner, and that's something we have to bring it into our kids and teach them that what we have done wrong before, that we shouldn't continue that kind of behavior or that kind of education, because that's not going to make our own community feel welcomed by anyone. And our community is so beautiful because we are so diverse, and we should be welcoming anyone, and that those kind of behavior shouldn't be happening here in our community.
Thank you. Jason? Hiring and retraining employees is becoming more difficult each year. Hiring and retaining employees is becoming more difficult each year. What strategies would you propose to attract, hire, and retain excellent quality staff?
To hire, we need to find the best fit for our students. Sometimes there might be somebody that's got more credentials or on paper, but there's might be someone that doesn't have as much, but that's a better fit for our students, that's more open to our students, listens to our students. To retain, we just have to make sure that our teachers feel welcome, thank you for what they do, make sure everybody's treated fairly amongst the staff. And retaining them, just make it a good community to work in, a good school district to work in, make sure that everybody enjoys their work and know that everybody in the community appreciates the work they do. This year's been a test, so if we retain a lot of them, I think it's a good test on everybody.
Michelle?
So that's actually a big piece of the strategic planning, and to hire and retain good staff, good quality staff. And I'm on the negotiations committee, and that is also a big piece in trying to increase the starting wages of our new hires to get them in at a higher wage. So some of the veteran staff actually agreed to increase the starting wage so we can get our new hires in at a little higher wage, and try to be a little more enticing with our starting wage, and do what we can to retain our veteran staff as well. So it's part of our strategic planning, and we're working on that.
Louisa?
I feel like we have retained quite a few employees or teachers with great qualification for our school. Like Michelle said, the strategic planning, we have kind of, give ideas on how to retain these people. Also, I think it should be a collaboration with the whole town. If we want really quality teachers, the whole town should also be part of welcoming those teachers, helping them out when they come in here, and if they need to leave here in town, or finding places to eat. Because I think that's one of the more problems that new teachers have, where to live here in St. James, because we have less housing for them. I also would like to see more teachers of colors to be retained in our district. That would be an awesome thing to do, because it would look also like the population that we have here in St. James.
Thank you. Scott?
Hiring and retaining employees is huge, because if you don't have a good employee base, you don't have a very good business. And our school district is a business, and we need to have our teachers be the forefront of what we're doing. And we're in the business of teaching kids, so we need to hire the best teachers to teach our kids. And I'm on the negotiations committee with Michelle, and this past year we did have negotiations with the teachers. And one thing I did learn, just because this is my first year of being on that committee, is that we have one of the best pay scales for the teachers in our area. So we get the teachers here with the money. We can attract them by giving them the money that they feel that they need. In order to retain them, I think this past year was one of our best years for retaining employees. I think we had very little movement, so that's huge. I mean, I remember seeing some years where there'd be 10 teachers moving in or out or whatever, but I think this past year was maybe one, if that. My memory doesn't completely serve me right, but I know it was very little. To keep them here, we need to communicate. And I remember with being on negotiations, the teachers always wanted communication. They want to know what's going on. They want to feel like they're heard. And the teachers want the administration to be visible in the buildings. If they can see the administration, they can talk to administration, voice their concerns. And if they can't see them, they can't do that. So,
Thank you, Scott. Question 9 will begin with Michelle. What is the appropriate way that school board members should fact check and get information on current issues, and then verify this information is correct?
If someone comes to me with a concern, I usually follow up by going directly to the superintendent or to the source. I don't go around and go behind the scenes trying to do my own little investigation. We have a chain of command, and we are really, our goal is not to go around and do our own investigation. Our goal is really to go to board meetings, hear the information that is presented at board meetings. We don't have behind-the-scene meetings. We don't have closed-door meetings. Everything that we do is out in the public. So if someone calls me with a concern, typically just go directly either to the principal or to the superintendent to discuss that meeting or to discuss that information, and probably together or with their help, or they get the information and then it's brought to a board.
Louisa?
I have to agree with everything what Michelle said. We will have a great chain of command. When someone brings me up with a concern, I usually start whoever is the next person, who that person talked to, and ask what's going on, or if it's something urgent, I will ask that person to direct to either to the principal or to the superintendent. And I think that's where we have a chain of command. Sometimes we could see stuff differently than the actual person, and we could maybe explain it differently. But that's why we have a chain of command. And not with Dr. Haga being more open to communication, I think that is going to improve even more if we have any of that, because we have that chain of command. And our position for the school board members mostly policies, not being in someone else's trying to do someone else's job. That's not our job. Our job is mostly policy, and, stuff that we have to do, bigger stuff, but not doing someone else's job, micromanaging someone, doing that.
Scott?
Well, my answer is pretty much going to reiterate what Michelle and Lisa said, just because with being on this board, we know what our board role is. And when I first was elected on the school board 4 years ago, they sent us to the Minnesota School Board Association training. And one of the things that stuck with me in that training was the school board has two jobs. And the first job is to set policy, and the second job is to hire a superintendent and to communicate with the superintendent. After that, if there is other issues, then that's secondary. But as far as fact checking, if the person comes to me with a complaint or something like that with what's going on in the school district, like they say, the first thing I'm supposed to say, and I do say, is have you followed proper chain of command? And if the parent has an issue with the teacher, I say, have you talked to the teacher? Have you talked to the principal? Have you talked to the superintendent? Because there is a chain of command that needs to be followed. You can't just jump from one to the other, and you can't just jump to the school board and think that the school board is going to solve our problems, because that's not our job. Our job, if the superintendent comes to us with an issue and says that this is what's going on, I need you guys to help and decide what to do, then that's our job to set the policy at that point to deal with that situation. Like I said, pretty much the same thing as what Michelle and Lisa said. It's chain of command. You gotta follow.
Jason?
There is two sides to every story. So yes, we're going to get people that are going to call probably and want to bring up issues. Sometimes they just want to talk. They just want somebody to hear them. They do have to follow chain of command, or the teachers or the superintendent or the principal. But if they ask you for a question, I think we need to remember to get back to them. A lot of people will just call just because, okay, they got your number. They just want a question. Well, I feel like it's a question that you could easily answer, or you can get the right answer for them, that it might be better off than if you just send them to a bunch of different people and everybody gives them a different answer. Because there's two sides to every story, and like I said, you got to follow the chain of command, and if it is an issue that needs to be taken care of right away, well then I think we need to act on it, or get the message to the right person, so that we don't, and then they can communicate it out, so that everybody hears the same message.
Louisa, this question will begin with you. Because of open enrollment, what ideas do you have to market our school?
I think we have talked about this in the board about open enrollment, and the ideas, we don't have certain ideas that we're gonna target, but we like to provide, the academic part, which is so important for every student. And I think that's something that's always bringing up, like we have the CNA classes, we have the early childhood classes, the ag classes, and so many classes that we have that could be convenient for any student. We also have our brand new facility that we have, and just the environment to be here in siguientes. I don't think we have an actual plan on how to do it, because it also depends on the parents, what are more convenient for some of the parents. So that's parents' decision. And I wish we would have that policy, but we do. That's what a free country is about, having free policies and stuff like that. But if we're in the district, you should go to your own district or your own town school.
Scott?
Open enrollment is huge, and in order to market our school, we got to be sure that we can market our academics first and show people that we value academics, we value good test scores, we want the kids to get the best opportunity that they possibly can, so that they're put in the best position that they possibly can in their future adult life. We can do that by class offerings. We have done it with class offerings. Our ethnicity with our diverse, populations that's drawn many people here. Different things that we've done within our school district, within our classes that have received statewide recognition. One thing that goes to mind is our 10th grade health class does something that's extremely unique. And you get the 10th graders in there and you get them in groups of 2 or 3 kids, and it's their job to provide lunch for a day on a budget and the right nutrient levels and all that kind of stuff. So it gives the kids opportunities to understand money and how to feed the whole school district on a certain budget, and in order to get the right number of calories and nutrients that each person needs. And that's received statewide recognition. They presented their deal a couple different times at different statewide events. And our teachers are the ones that keep them here. If we can get the kids here, our teachers are going to be the ones that keep them here just by making sure the kids are included and make sure the kids are excelling in what they're doing.
Jason?
I think to spotlight the school and try to get open enrollment, we need our kids' help to show that this place has a great opportunity for them, show what our academics can do, show what the teachers, like Scott said, if they can get them here, the teachers can help them stay, feel welcome, feel that they're all a part of the community. And I think if the kids can help, if they love the district, they could be a great market for us. They got social media, they talk to friends and they say, hey, I really love going there. So that they could be a great asset to all of us if we can have the kids help us and make sure that academics comes first. And
Michelle?
What I've loved lately is that the strategic plan has been kind of the focus at most of the board meetings. They keep bringing it back to the board meeting and keeping it at the forefront. And I believe at the next board meeting that marketing is actually listed for the next board meeting. And Dr. Heil is going to hit on some marketing tips that we're going to hit on after COVID. So I'm looking forward to that. I know personally, marketing is kind of a big thing to me. I think we need a cheerleader for our school. It would be fun to have a certain cheerleader, whether it's a student or a little fan club, you could call it, so that when the local realtor gets a new family in town, maybe he's showing their house and maybe the students stop at the front office and the fan club or the cheerleading group takes the students through the school and gets their tour that day of the activity office and then heads down to the art room and the science wing and gets their tour. I think that'd be nice to have that set marketing group or the little cheerleading group that is always on the ready for someone that comes to town.
We will now take each candidate, we'll have a 1-minute closing statement on why you should be elected to the school board, and we will start with Scott.
So, like I said, I've been on the school board now for 4 years. The first 4 years were definitely a learning curve. First year, I just sat there and basically listened. For people that know me, I like to just sit back and listen first and take it all in, and then I'll start saying my opinion or what I think needs to be done or how I can help. So the first year was just learning how the acting is, learning different things that the school district has. The next couple years, we're trying to get involved and trying to get things going. And I think we've made some big changes in the last 4 years, and my goal is just to see them changes through and see where the school district can be in the next 4 years.
Jason?
Because I'm looking for a new challenge. I think it would be a great challenge. I've been in this community my whole life. I've been on the fire department for my whole life, so I have a lot of contacts in this community that I would like to get involved with more stuff. And yes, it would be, the first couple of years would be a learning experience. It's with any new board, any new thing you're on, you've got to learn what's your responsibilities, when and what to do. And just to try to bring a new perspective to the board with a lot of contacts that I have, that we can try to work together and get more people involved with things.
Michelle?
So I've been on the board for quite a while. I've seen the school in some not so good times and some pretty good times. I think I bring some experience to the table, and I'd like to stay on the board because I just think my experience brings a good piece to the table. However, I think everybody here is a good person and is going to bring something really good to the table. So if it's not me, every one of them is a good thing. And I would be proud to have any one of them here be on the board. But I'd like the opportunity to stay on the board. I'm proud of what goes on in St. James. I'm proud to be a part of St. James. I'm proud of the kids that I've seen come through St. James. 2 of my kids did go to college, and they're doing fantastic in the community. 2 of my other kids went to 4-year colleges, and I'm proud to say one is a teacher of all things. So I'd like to stay on, be happy to take your vote. If not, anybody else here is going to be great. Thank you.
Louisa?
Well, this is going to be my 3rd term. Like Michelle says, even though it's going to be my 3rd term, I've been into rough time from school, from the referendum to what we have right now, which was tough, but right now we're getting better at it. I feel like I have experience that I have gathered experience throughout those many years. I feel like I'm an asset to the district because of my bilingual skills, and also because I think I kind of know a lot of people in the community, and that brings me a little bit more experience, not just because I know them, but because, the ability of having to manage. I would love to have your vote on November 3rd, because I think I still have more to give to the community and to the district, and to bring more positive change to it.
Thank you. Thank you all for viewing this evening. And we want to remind you that the forum will be broadcast on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings on the cable access channel. In addition, be sure to look at links posted on community websites and social media regarding viewing it on YouTube. Thank you again to our sponsors, and we hope you have a great evening.